Welcome everyone. Welcome to the 29th edition of the Home Theater Hub. Appreciate everyone who has joined in the chat already. Thank you, Miguel in the chat, Richard in the chat. Thank you guys so much for joining. Ike, what's going on, man?
I'm good, man. How about you? I haven't spoken to you all freaking week, man. You just abandoned me somewhere.
I've been incognito. I can tell you that. It's been since I took a couple days off last week. As you guys know, I took a little vacation, went to the Keys, and all that did was just left double work for me on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So,
Yeah, that's usually how it goes, right? You get back from a vacation and then you need one like a week after because everything was just waiting for you to return.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so it's just been a whirlwind of events. So with work and with my business and everything else. But so I haven't had any chance to actually watch any movies or anything like that because we obviously were on vacation. But I did try to partake into a movie that they had at the resort. So we actually were able to watch Inside Out. They had like a movie night there, and we
Oh,
were able to
okay.
watch Inside Out. Yeah, I actually like that movie a lot. So it's a pretty good movie.
Hey, can you check your mic? I'm hearing your mic volume is low.
My mic volume's low.
Yeah,
How
or at
about
least
now? Check check.
it sounds good to me, but CB said it was a little low.
All right, let me pump it up a little bit. How's that,
It's probably
CB?
that post vacation voice, man.
Uh,
Rich, he's giving us.
all
Hey,
right,
look,
Mr. Paul. Mr. Paul
good to
joined
see you,
us.
man.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Oh, not
How are you
much.
doing today?
Doing good, doing good. Just recovering from the holiday weekend still. You
Man,
know, I went pretty hard this past weekend.
man,
I was partying like I was 18. Let's put it that way. Started at I don't know. We went paddleboarding and had a few drinks on the lake. Which was an event in itself because the car battery died. I left the paddles at home,
Ooh,
so paddleboarding without paddles is kind of hard to do. But
that's
we
one of
still
these
rolled.
numbers.
Yep, exactly. Literally paddling. So we just went probably 30 feet out in the middle of this little cove and tied to a tree and just kind of swam and float. Um, and the car battery died, but it had died last week because I left the lights on. Kind of the same thing here, but it's only like 2 minutes. I need a new battery. But so that started our day, and then we went to an Italian restaurant and had a bottle of wine and a couple more drinks, and I think we called it a night at about 4 o'clock in the morning,
Ooh,
and we were drinking the whole time.
so you called it a morning at 4 o'clock in the morning because
Yeah,
that ain't no
yeah,
night
yeah.
no more, man. It's way past
I didn't
nighttime.
move Sunday. Let's put it that way. Sunday, I was like in a coma. I was like, I was like, oh man, this hurts worse. But yeah, I had a good time. We had an excellent time. We were
that's
partying.
great. Glad to hear
See,
that.
I did the complete opposite. I slept like I'd never slept before this long, and I was off. I had Friday and Monday off, and I slept throughout. Like
Oh,
it didn't make any sense. I just kept sleeping. At one point, I thought I was sick or something, but
and
I
it's weird. Even though I was had a headache on Sunday, just relaxing that whole day. Man, come Monday, I was like super energized. I was like, damn. It's like, man, I need to like apparently rest more. Because man,
Yeah.
I was like, man, what's going on, man? I felt like I had like 50 coffees or something.
No,
So,
I went on my vacation, my little vacation, and it was great to not do nothing, not to go walk parks, not to go do. It was just literally just like it was a Hilton hotel right off the side of the road, and there's literally nothing there but beach and restaurants for it to eat at, and it was just fantastic just to sit back and lay around, and do nothing for a while. And actually, my son had a fever on Sunday, so I mean, I got to lay in the bed in the hotel, and we had a waterfront beachfront view. So I just opened both patio doors and laid and listened to the ocean, and it was great. It was fantastic just to relax. So
Yep.
my wife usually likes to walk all the parks and stuff like that, and I'm more of a just sit on my ass, and I call that a vacation.
I hear you. So, I heard you didn't have time to watch anything, or you were too busy doing vacation.
Yeah. No, well, we they had like a movie night there. So they always try to put little activities together and stuff like that, and it was supposed to be on like this. They called it Ben's Garden, but it's like basically a bunch of turf, that they have put there, and it was supposed to be outdoors, but for some reason they moved it indoors. I guess they may have thought it was too hot, but it really wasn't that bad. So it would have been nice to do like a little outdoor movie. They had the blow up screen and all that stuff, and the projector and all that, but they just moved it indoors.
Gotcha.
So,
well, I watched a movie the new Roadhouse movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it was. Let's just say it's kind of the Fast and Furious version of Roadhouse. I was like, okay. I mean, I was like, don't even think of the original Roadhouse. Just wipe that out of your brain. That just don't even think that they're related. They tried to, do a couple throwbacks of, the throat thing and whatever.
The only thing I remember of that movie is the sex scene. So.
Oh yeah, they didn't have that in. Yeah, they didn't even have that in there. So, but yeah, it was pretty funny. I mean, it was hilarious. And Conor McGregor is hilarious. Like, he's a good sport for.
Oh really? He did a good job, huh? I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's a good actor, but I haven't seen him in a lot of movies. So, if that's like his first, he did really good. If that's his first acting job for what he did, I mean, as far as, it wasn't like he was bad, but obviously he's not an A-lister actor. But yeah, as far as what he did, he did all right. He did pretty good. And what, knowing his line of work, right, and the character he had to play, like I said, he's a good sport for doing that, and he was pretty hilarious. So if you just have to watch it.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out.
Is it on Netflix or I haven't seen it?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Go into it thinking comedy, not Roadhouse. Okay,
you just got to go into a lot of these movies with
nothing to do with the Roadhouse. Yeah, and then you'll be all right. But it's just think Fast and Furious style of realism,
So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our guest now, Mr. Todd. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hey, hello.
Todd meet Paul. Paul meet Todd. Paul always likes to join with like the last 2 seconds or literally, what were you, about a minute late today? He likes to join a little behind, so I got to do the introduction on the live stream here. But it's all good. We appreciate Paul joining.
You're late. Yeah.
So, Todd, were you had a chance to partake in any movies or any television shows this week?
Just a few movies, the Dune 2 and probably I watched Blade Runner 2049, I think, last night or the other night. So it was a good time.
Speaking of Dune 2, I picked that up.
You have to be careful because that thing's probably recorded about 15 dB hot.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah, it's if you're at like minus 20, you're pushing it pretty hard.
Oh, you got two versions.
Why you got two copies, man?
Because he messed up and ordered the wrong one.
No,
Well,
because
since we're all showing out,
I don't like to
Pretty
convert.
much talking about it. Hold on. I think
As
I
soon
got
as I get a good conversion, I'll that does decent HDR mapping, I'll probably convert the 4K down, but I do that for my media server so it doesn't have to transcode.
I still
Yeah.
haven't. I still haven't watched this
Ooh.
yet.
But
Oh,
that's
there
in
you go.
Japanese, though. How are you supposed to watch that?
You gotta
Todd,
have
you
a
can-
big screen.
You can download the what is it called?
The subtitles?
The subtitles. People have a way of doing that, but hey, I guess it's time to learn Japanese. I don't think anyone is watching it because they want to listen. We're just watching it for the LFEs and the Atmos and all of that. But yeah, I'll figure it out. And
Yeah, I'm gonna
I
have
guess
to
you
figure
you
that
have
out.
to
I
rip
almost
it
ordered
first.
that the other day. I was like, but so I was listening to someone else the other day. Where was I at? I was on Youth Man's
Godzilla up
Patreon.
there.
Oh yeah,
The original.
yeah. I was on Youth Man's
Actually,
Patreon Zoom,
Yeah.
and
Come on.
somebody was talking about how that wasn't going to be released. The -1 wasn't going to be released because it's competitive with the other Godzilla that just came out.
Yeah, I think it's now it's going to come out in December. I think
Yeah.
there's talk about it being available in December, so that makes sense. But yeah,
Right. Yeah, because they were saying how it's how the two studios have like a non-compete or something like that, and it was so that's why it's not on Kaleidoscape or anything else. So, but
well,
yeah,
that makes sense.
yeah, absolutely. So another one that I was able to pick up, which is one of my favorite movies, is American Sniper.
Yes, I still got mine. I am so behind on movies, man. Look,
Ah.
it's still in the wrap,
Yeah, so's mine.
not even touched.
Oh,
Just
you're-
racking them up.
I got some
Look
new
at
movies.
Paul's.
got
Paul's
some
got
new
a
movies,
suitcase
too.
back there.
What are you dealing in movies now, man?
I bought some
Hey,
new
man,
movies.
got some movies for you here in my little box.
Oh, yeah, it's like what's your genre, man? You like action? You like romance? I got you.
Oh, man.
Oh man, that's
Yeah,
funny.
well,
Wiping.
I have this pile, and I convert all my stuff to digital for ease of use because there's just too many.
Right.
It's like trying to find a book in a library without a index. It's
Yeah,
like,
all mine go to a portable hard drive too. How's your
Yeah,
NAS
so-
coming along, by the way? Is
I'm
it up and running
waiting.
now?
It's up. I haven't converted everything over. I'm waiting on one more hard drive because I was doing this shuffle thing, and it got to the point to where I got too nervous, and I was like, ugh. I would have to tear this RAID volume down, take this RAID, put it in this other one, try to import it or adopt it, and then push the leftover. And I was like, nah, I'm just going to get another hard drive and take this one out, throw it to the side. So I'm starting with 5 hard drives in the new NAS since I'm doing a RAID. So that way, since the one disappears for the parity, but
What size of drives are you using?
I'm using all
18?
8. Yeah. So and then
18?
once I do
8.
that, 18.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I need 18. I'm already maxed out on 418.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. I know it's a large number, but let's put it this way: I will have a total of 8 in the NAS as soon as I get it, because I still have 4 after I move all this data off. I will take all 4 of those, put them in the new NAS, and I'll have basically 1 spare ready in case of a drive failure.
Right.
And after I get what's behind me cataloged, I'll only have 40 terabytes left of 7 18 terabyte hard drives. So it's a large.
That's a large project.
Yeah, it is. I'm being patient. Usually I'm not very patient because I'm like, ooh, new shiny. And this new NAS it's pretty cool. It can do a lot more. Like I can do like a bunch of other stuff much easier on the newer software.
Okay. Did you opt to put the SSD drive in it and everything else?
I have two M.2 drives for caching that
Okay.
is capable of it, and I got hooked up from one of my buddies who's in the industry, who might know him from Scottio channel.
Yeah.
So I got a good deal on some SSDs, so I got two 1 terabyte hard drives, the MBM 2. I think 2.0 or 2.2.
I'll tell you what,
2.
Scott is the master of finding all these deals, man. He's always
Yeah, so I'm using that for read cache. So basically so once I get my database back up and stuff, pretty much all my thumbnails and all that will probably just live on that, and everything will just be instant because it'll be the limit of my 2.5 gig switch. I actually bought a 5-port 2.5 gig switch so I could connect them all together. So I could transfer, just in that one connection.
Yeah, so Master's Lesson says, funny we have Kaleidoscape, but we still keep buying physical media. Sometimes it's just an addiction,
Yeah, well, yeah, it's just a collection. It's nice to have, it's kind of like, people buy bobbleheads, or you collect baseballs, or you ain't playing with the signed baseball. Something you like, you cherish, and yeah, I don't put all of them on display, but I will eventually probably make I have some future-minded projects that I'll probably do a couple movies just on display somewhere, like either in a rotating LED lit box or something, to where you can like flip them or something. The reason is because I'm taking all the LEDs off of my screen that goes all the way around. And I bought one that goes around 3, that's one strip. So hopefully I can get a little bit more accuracy, or I won't have any overlap, and it'll be a little bit cleaner on that interactive LED AI box that I have. And then I'm going to take those 19-foot strips and mount them on the back of my sound panels that I have. So I'll turn that on, and that'll be off to the side. That'll also be lit up. So that'll just, add a little more cool factor to it.
Yeah, I mean, old habits die hard, right? So we're all used to buying physical media, so
yeah.
you're not
I
just
bought
going to
the.
suddenly stop.
I had to buy the Steelbook. I mean that for one of my favorite movies, I had to buy the Steelbook. Gotta support it. One that I haven't shown yet that I picked up, even though I have it on Kaleidoscape, and it's been.
So you still ended up picking it up.
I still picked it up, man. Because look,
for $15, man. You
for like you said, it was very cheap, and instead of switching back and forth between two different devices, if I can put it on there without it costing me an arm and a leg, why not put it on that Arvolution player or the Zoom, the Zoom or whatever device that you have to stream your media. Why not, for how cheap
and
it
you have
was.
an additional factor that you could use if you want, even though it's not probably the real reason. I mean, eventually you're going to have that as like a studio, and
Correct.
Someone's going to want to, I want to see Arvolution, I want to see this movie on there, I want to see it on this, I want to see,
Right.
You'll have both.
Yeah, we can try to do a little comparison, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kaleidoscape versus Arvolution or whatever, you know what I mean? So
yeah.
So Ariel says she watched this Furiosa. I think we talked about that the other day, right? The last show or a show or two before.
Yeah, the prequel to the Mad Max, right?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, I heard it was really good. Shane Lee actually talked about it on his channel, talking about how good it was. So, and then Master's Lesson says he's collecting pure Mickey Rourke movies. Nice.
Oh, cool. Now that's cool whenever you start collecting like actors or even like directors or authors, based on type of thing. That's pretty cool. I can respect that.
That's pretty awesome.
I'm not an intelligent enough to, like, sorry, this is my favorite movies. I'm like, forget the actor's name. I'll say,
Yeah,
the main character in this movie, and they'll be like, that's and I'll be like, yeah, and they're like, how do you not know that guy? Or
yeah.
wait,
I don't have enough bandwidth in my brain to. I don't know how people do it, man. It's like, oh, they know the name of the actors, the directors. I'm like, man, I don't know, man.
yeah,
I
Yeah,
don't remember
I
any
I
of that.
used to up until about 1,000 movies. I could tell you if I owned it or not, right? But after that, it was like everything's gone.
man, you beat me. I'm more like 400. Let's put it this way. I kid you not. I have 3 copies of Ready Player One. I'm
It's
not
like, do
even
I
joking.
have it? Do I have it?
I think
Yeah.
I have two
I
copies of a couple
I
movies. Yeah.
had it. I bought the 4K. I wanted to watch it again, and I forgot I already bought the 4K. I was like,
Yeah,
God
I'm
damn
pretty
it.
sure most of us have that. Yeah, the good thing about Kaleidoscape is it won't let you buy a movie twice.
Yeah,
So
that's.
that's
I
the
literally
good
have to
part
look
about it.
through my catalog and type search. Oh,
Yeah.
nope, I got it.
No, I used to open up the Zapedi app because everything, obviously, and then it would sort it A to Z, and I'd be able to just, do I have this? Do I have this?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so we're gonna move over to our guest here, Todd. Todd, give us a little information. Where you at in the country, or are you in the
I'm
United States?
I'm in Western North Carolina.
So that would be a
Um,
yes.
um, but yeah, so no, live in Western North Carolina. Got a 7.4.4 system in a 12 by 12 by 10 room. So I'm not. My room is strictly built to my taste, not anybody else's, and I kind of go most of the stuff. I tend to go a little over the top.
Okay.
So yeah. So it's
So
a
what got you into home theater? What drove the inspiration or
well.
passion?
It was Dad had 901s in the early 70s with the Marantz and, a hellacious record collection. And then when I was in the service, you either went 2 routes because I was in
Hey
the
Todd.
submarine.
Hey
Yeah.
Todd, quickly, can you check if YouTube is not muted on your end? We're getting some feedback.
Oh,
So if
it's going to be the phone here. So
okay,
let
yeah,
me
can
pull
you
that.
mute the phone?
Yeah.
That's fine. You can just mute it.
Yeah. Well, it was muted, but I was still getting feedback from the,
Okay,
from
yeah, you
the,
can just
Okay.
hang up on there. And when you're ready, you can just dial back in.
It's no
it's
problem.
over there. The phone's fully charged. So I don't have to, oh my God, no.
I don't hear it
Um,
anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're good.
So, but no, when I was in the submarines, I was Navy and submarines. So in the 80s, guys were either buying home home stereo stuff or in the barracks. So, you had the Kappas, the Infinity SM 120s and 150s. And then my roommate actually had Carver Amazing loudspeakers with the Carver receiver. So he had like big stuff, and then also, or everybody went into the car stereo stuff. So
So you were
before
able
I
to take all that stuff on a sub?
well, no, you had barracks rooms because I was on a fast boat, so there were only you know 80 beds for 120 people. So you always had the hot rack. So when you were in port, you had the barracks. So everybody had all their 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 speakers and their home, their stereos and stuff, and that was at the same time that the car stereo started getting into it, and that's actually where I found the speakers that I still have today, are the Vandersteins, where I was going around between, the Tweeter or Best Buys and the Circuit City, and then there happened to be a hi-fi high-end store there in San Diego, and I went in there, and they're like, "Well, what are you looking for?" And I'm like, "Well, I don't really know what I'm looking for, but this is how much I'm looking to spend." And well, of course, they showed me the more expensive stuff, which end up being the Vandersteen Model 2s, which I have. And then I'm like, well, I listened to them, fell in love with it, and then I'm like, how much is it? And they're like, it's like $1,200, and I'm like, well, I don't have $1,200. I was like looking in like the $500 to $600 range, and then they're actually, well, we have the Model Ones, and then I listened to them, and then I went back over to the other places and around, and I came back and bought the Model Ones, and I actually still am using them for my my Atmos, my rear Atmos speakers. And then once I got money, once I started making decent money, I bought my Model 2s, which are my side speakers now. So they're, era 1993, and then my Model 1s are, 88, and they still jam good. And then now the rest of my system is all Vandersteens, but it's all used. So I got another pair of Model 2s, which are my front stage, and they're actually there's a vintage hi-fi store. It's a Vintage Audio Express in Jamestown. First time I went into the store, they had a pair of Model 2s playing. So at the time, I was using my Model 2s on the front and the Model 1s on the rear. I had a 5.1 system with my V&D subwoofer. So it's like, as soon as I went in there, it's one of those son of a bitch moments. Damn it, I gotta buy these. So I ended up with second pair of my Model 2s, and then my other set of Model 1s were purchased on eBay, because it's like, they still make these same speakers today, and they're like $2,000, but you can pick them up for like $200 to $400. And of course, most people, when they're hi-fi stuff, are very are gonna baby them, and that's not my styles. But
Yeah.
so that's kind of where I got into it. And then also I ended up going down because I found Car Audio magazine when I was stationed in San Diego, and then they ended up having the finals in Tempe. So I'm like, well, shit, I gotta go drive there. So I went down the car stereo route, and you'll see where it kind of comes back to my home stuff too. Um, so after I got out, I had my home stuff, and then I started getting into the Ayahuasca stuff. And of course, when I do anything, I kind of jump into it full bore. And then so I competed up and down the East Coast. So of course, you do the M&B Court speakers. There's JL Audio subs. You had Precision Power amplifiers, and I had all that stuff. So I kind of went up that route. And then kind of with my home stuff, I always wanted a big sub, but I could never afford the Velodyne DD18, because that was like my ultimate sub. Back in the day, that was the big boy, and I was like, I always wanted it, and it was always prohibitively expensive. And then I started, like, about a year and a half ago, I found out about, with the Monoprice, with their THX 15 with 1,000 watt. I'm like, because I just have my Vandersteen with 888s in that with a passive 10. It works. It plays down to 20 hertz, but but it ain't going sub 20s, which I wanted. And then as soon as I got that Monoprice 15 and I put it in my room, when we do the tour stuff, you'll see I have a doorway on the backside over here where the front door's right there, and then it goes upstairs. And so as soon as I got that Monoprice, they're like, you got to do something, Todd, because it's because it's basically, there's 10 foot, so it's like 20 feet plus feet up to go upstairs as soon as you come out the front door. So you're getting the full low end power bass coming straight up into the bedrooms upstairs. So I'm like, I was actually gonna do an outdoors door to seal it up and still have access. But then my wife was like, Todd, why don't you just seal it up? Because the other, I've got the other main opening here. So I'm like, well, shit, that works good. So you throw in some 2x4s and some rock wool, and then seal the whole thing up. And actually, Lowe's had some maple wood, some nice paneling on that was maple. So I just, as you'll see with some of my other stuff, that was my other passion, is kind of woodworking, and I get tied into some exotic wood too, and then it's always bad because
Yeah,
on that.
I
So I
love
ended
the Brazilian wood. The
mhm.
man, I tell
Well, I
you,
got
it's
as you'll see here, I got some pretty neat stuff, but I ended up, so just before Mwave, because I kind of maybe like it on little on the loud side. I may have blown up the THX amplifier on the 15, and then M-Wave is, ignorance is, I would say ignorance is bliss, but ignorance is cheap. Because
yes,
as soon as you go in and you tour Jonathan's room, you go in there and you see Grant's room, and then you go in there and you see Ryan's room, and then it's like, son of a bitch. It's one of those things where you just go in there, and then you go down the rabbit hole, and
Yep.
then so I'm obviously kind of like things over the top, and of course, as soon as I saw the stereo integrity 24s, then I'm like, I got to get me some of those. And then they had their HT18s, and I was talking to a guy there, and he's like, actually, you know what? Those 18s kick ass pretty good, and they're only $200 a piece. So Monoprice ended up was going to say, because as soon as I got to say, Monoprice stands by their products 100%. Because when I blew up the amplifier, right after I called them, they had a freight truck, come and pick up the sub. I just had to get a pallet, which is, I guess now everything's there's a deposit on all the pallets for the local area. So it was damn near impossible to try to scavenge a pallet, because back in the day, oh, here, pallet, I need to get rid of these. But so they came and picked it up, and then after M Wave, it was, hey, if you guys, a month later, and it's like still nothing back from them. So it's like, man, I can't be dealing without any good bass. So I'm like, well, I'll go ahead and I'll go ahead and buy one of these 15s, because in my mindset, it's, back in the day, the Radio Shack, if you got a cheap ass sub, you got the itty bitty, the coffee coaster magnet on this great big, sub on this stuff.
right.
So it was kind of my mindset. And then as soon as I heard the first note out of it, because I got spent $200 on from Stereo Integrity, and then went to Sweetwater and got the Behringer 3000 for $400. So less than $700, you got 2,000 watts for an 18. And as soon as that thing hit, it's like that because I was just gonna do the Monoprice stuff, and then it was like, well, I'm gonna be selling the Monoprice when I get the replacement. And then it was still an ongoing thing with them, and then they were like, well, actually, because it's not going to be until October that we're going to be getting our new shipments of the speakers, so we'll give you full credit for that speaker. So I got it, Chris, not this past Christmas, but last Christmas, and it was Black Friday deal, so it was like $1,200, $1,300, and they gave me full credit. So I was watching
Wow.
the 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 Monoprice site, and the 7X came up on for for B stock or whatever. So for $1,500, I got me a damn Monoprice 7X, and it cost
Yeah,
me
that's a
three
good
hundred
amp.
delivered. So it was like, that's a good thing. So that's kind of where I kind of went down the rabbit hole with that. And then I knew I wanted a second sub, and then my neighbor actually plays in a band, and he had a Behringer 6000 that he had in the garage. So I was like, well, you know what? Hey, I'll trade you my brand new 3000, so you'll still have an amp, but I need a two channel stuff. And he's actually, Todd, I'm actually going a different route. So I'll sell you the Behringer 6000 with the 47U full rack for $400. So I'm like, here
Done.
you go.
Man, I need better neighbors, man.
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so now instead of having two, well, if you got enough to power three subs and they're only $200, guess what? My ass got me two more subs and got in there, and then so in my room I've got four main seats because I've got little dogs and they're not so little, so wherever they're sitting, we all kind of they sometimes they get dibs on the seat. So if you got an English Mastiff and he's there, you're not moving him, so you just move around. And then
Yeah.
and then my little fluffy poodle dog mix is a standard poodle Newfoundland, and he's 130 pounds. So it's
I'm
like,
surprised they sit in the room. If you said you like to listen to it loud, I'm surprised they.
oh yeah, oh yeah.
they sit
No,
in the
we're
room.
talking. Most of the time, I'm about -20 is my quiet, and then we'll go up to -10, and you're pretty full rock and roll. The Mastiff ain't going nowhere because it's like if you have an English Mastiff, it's our personal space. So it's just like one of those things, and then he's going to stay there. My Doodle will. He's like, oh man, see you later, guys. This shit is just too loud,
Too
and off
loud
he
for
goes
me.
to the bedroom. So it's kind of one of those things. So my four seats have you had good listening on the left side and the middle, but the right side it was you had great sub, and then good. So you have to go to a fourth. So I ended up and I saw that Sheldon went over to the CVR amplifiers, and because the one thing with the Behringers is the noise, and I still have everything in the room right now, so it's I actually made up a little mini hush box to try to tone down the fan noise, and then I was asking them about with the CVR, and then so I ended up getting the CVR 2004, so it's 2000 by 4 at 8 ohms. So, and I'm running them at 4 ohms. So we're covered pretty good on the power. And then as soon as I did that, this is just there's no bad seat for subs. And even if you lay down on either side, it's a good place to be.
That's awesome.
So yeah. So and then like I said, I got all towers. Because I kind of went with the Jonathan von England mindset of trying to get everything the same. And then when you like really big towers, it's like, it's just trying to match up everything. And I already had and the only difference between my Model 2s, which have the Vandersteen tweeter, a 4, and the 8, and then it has the passive 10 in it, and then the Model 1s have a tweeter and 8, so they're matching tweeter and 8s in 8 of the 10 or the 11 speakers I have, and then my rears are VSM 1s, which have the 1 and 6.5. So it's just I got everything's pretty much matched, except the other thing. I'm actually using car stereo speakers for my center channel.
Oh wow.
So they're hold on just a second. I have
There's the Labradoodle.
Yeah.
Man,
Not
I saw
quiet,
that
man.
Mastiff. I saw the Mastiff yesterday. That stuff is huge, man. That dog is big.
So MV Court now is crap speakers, but back in the day, they were the gold standard. And these were the competition drivers. And once you get into the whole competitive stuff, you're going to get the good speakers. And with these MB Court competition drivers, the 6.5, 4, and tweeter were about $1,200 in the early 90s. So it was good shit. And then the Vandersteen VCC2 is $2,000, and there's not very many of those that come up on eBay or stuff. So it's like, they have the Model 1s, but it's like I'm not going to do do that. So I ended up getting, like I said, I still have, and then I was like, because initially I was using a Pulp T15 or X15 for my center channel, and then I was like, oh, wait a minute, I got my car stereo stuff, so let me try that first. And they're 6 ohm drivers, just like my Vandersteins are, and then they're almost identical in sensitivity. So everything's all at the same level on my base layer. And then
Can you
I
show those
also
speakers
have,
again? I've got it keyed in on you, so everybody can see what they look like. So that's
and
what
like
you're
I
using
said,
for your center channel?
yeah, and that's in a custom enclosure I built. It's a 3-way enclosure, and that's I always hear people talk about their center channel with everything being muddy. My center channel is spot on. I don't have any issues in any seat with the center image. And then this is the 4, you know, sorry, but I can't even, oh, sorry, wrong way. Yeah, but those are MB Court stuff, but they were good stuff back in the day. So that's my only um, Vanderstein speaker. Everything else in here is all Vanderstein, and then I've actually got the VCM one. The VM ones here, or VSM ones, are actually in my sound panels here, but it's like with being in such a small room, it's a little muddy. But I finally figured out that they're going to fit in between the studs, because my sound panels are a single sheet of rock wool, but they're actually the sound panels are actually 6-inch thick, but the Vandies slide right up in there. So I'm like, you know what? I can put them in wall and bring the tweeters down. So now I'll have great channel separation between my base layer and my upper, because from the head forward in here, it's the sound is much bigger than the room, because like I said, my room is only 12 by 12 with 10. The good thing is with the 10-foot ceilings in here with it. So it may not be to everybody's taste, but it's just to my taste. And every time you sit down, you get a shit-eating grin on your face, and then as soon as you get that base hit with these sealed boxes on the base on this, and it's like you get the stupid laugh every time. You put on Ready Player One, you put on Dune 2. It's a good ass place to to listen and watch. And then the same thing, it's like, oh my God, how can you have 418s in a room that small? It's a good place. And I mean, the way everything I have in here, I can go from here and I could put on any kind of music. It sounds great. And then it's like, people always talk where you kind of get, after getting on YouTube, and I prefer the live performances, the Nirvana Unplugged, Alice in Chains Unplugged, the Hell Freezes Over. Those are awesome, great live acoustic recordings, and it's a good place in here to be to watch everything. And like I said, and then my other passion is doing a bunch of woodworking. So why have a bunch of painted black speakers when you can have something that looks great, and then it's like I said, I kind of and then it's because it's bad also, is that when your dealer is an hour from your house, it's always a bad situation, and you're always happy if you ever go to your dealer. If you can make it out without $200, it's a good day.
let's clarify. We're talking about a speaker dealer, right?
I know.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I know Paul can relate.
I'm letting you guys take the easy ones.
You go in there, it's like, no matter what your passion is, whatever your dealer is, and it's like whenever you go there, it's like, son of a gun, something else new or whatever. It's always a bad, it's like, crap. Oh man, how much is that? It's like, shit. So, but it's like, yeah, no, it's like, but like I said, and I just finished up, and we got everything's. It turned out pretty good because initially I was just going to have it. I had a painting in here we got from an antique shop that worked out really good, and it had some cool colors. So my speaker boxes and my barn door and stuff I did are kind of matched to that. And then here, if you want me to,
so we
I
got
can do
Richard
it.
asking, are your 18-inch subs stacked on top of each other? So why don't we just
No,
go ahead and
yeah,
dive
no,
into the
and
tour?
the nice, you only need 4 cubic feet on these on the stereo integrity. They're $200, but they're not cheap subs.
Yeah.
They are an incredible value, and I punish the hell out of them. And they're way underrated because they're, like I said. And then hold on, I'll grab my phone and we can show you
Yeah, we'll
around
just
here.
go ahead and dive into the tour.
All right. So
Hold on, let me get you put up here.
Yeah, then you can mute his main camera.
I'll mute it just a second. Hold on.
And I think you can also switch to the back camera. I don't know how you want to do it, but okay, that works.
So you're still muted. There we go. Hold on. There we go. Guest has muted themselves. So you just need to unmute your phone.
So you need to unmute.
Oh, there it is. Sorry
There we
about
go.
that.
Yep.
So here we go. So welcome. My theater is. Hold on, let me turn this down. Sorry. I'm getting feedback. Just 1 minute.
Yeah, you can just hang up on there, and then when you're ready, you can just rejoin. That's fine.
I just muted his phone for a second, so that way.
Well, I was getting feedback.
Yeah, it's no problem.
Hold on. My theater is the Deuce at Smuggler's Ridge. So coming in here to the main theater is this is a movie marquee that was used. It was the lobby movie marquee from the Liberty Theater in North Wilkesboro. And I didn't paint that, but it kind of matches everything I got. And this is a real deal movie marquee from 1940s. And then coming into my theater entrance are these pretty cool exotic wood barn doors. But 9 times out of 10, the doors are going to be open because my dogs, if I'm in there and the door is closed, they feel like they're being punished. So these are my barn doors. And then.
And you made them yourself?
Yes. And this is why I said when you go in, because I have a supplier that's probably one of the largest exotic wood suppliers on the East Coast. And you can go in there, and then, of course, everything's by the board foot, and the cheap stuff starts off at about $8 a board foot, and then it can go up from there, and then it depends on the width of the board, and then if you like curly or figured wood, you get a double the price. So, like I said, it gets real, and these are all about 1 inch thick boards, and then
is that the Brazilian wood?
No, it's actually, we have IP, that's bloodwood, canary wood, Patagonian rosewood. We have, I think this is Chechen, and I think this is Chechen up here, and then like I said, it's several different types of wood. So this is kind of my other passion with that. And then, so when you come in here, it's hold on, guys. So you have, these are my main fronts. Those are the Model 2s there. And then you have the Vandersteen Model 1s for my front Atmos, and then a little bit of Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Star Wars, where we got it at a Comic-Con in Raleigh a couple of years ago, and then sound panels there. And then, like I said, these are, why do you need to go with big, ugly black speakers when you can have something else pretty cool? These are all spalted tamarind, and then this is this has got the leopard wood, tiger wood, some bloodwood, this is some Brazilian wood, so it's there. And then if you want a dark speakers, you got all Brazilian walnut there, and then you have my rear Outmost. Those are all set on 25. I got them set at, I made some frames up for my speakers, and they're all at 25 degrees angle. And then I got my Godzilla poster, and then
so those are acting like height speakers, right? Basically.
Yeah, those are my upper heights. Absolutely, yeah. So yeah, they're kind of high up, so I got pretty good channel separation there. And then I've got the second set of Model 2s there, and then within the sound panel there, I have a VSM1 here that's about this tall, and the rest is sound panel. And then so I've got so these are a little so these are kind of close here. So I'm going to be fixing that, because I figured out that I can put these, mount them into the wall and get my tweeters down here. So I'll have some really good channel separation there. And then we have the same thing here. And then I have my...
And did you build the panels yourself?
Yeah, everything's all that. I actually, because those are all 1x6s, and so the price difference between the normal 1x6 and the pressure treated was like $1. So I ended up, that's all made with pressure treated wood, because I figured there was more mass in there, so there's less chance for it to vibrate.
Right.
And then we have the second side over here for the sides, and I have my upper rear Outmost there with my Model 1s. And then we have X-Men, and then actually we were in the comic book store here recently with my son, and he was looking for the Funko Pops. And then I found a reproduction copy of this same poster on it. And then so it's just, like I said, everything's here. And then, like I said, it's not a whole lot to it. And then so I got my front Model 2s, and then the fourth sub is right here. So effectively, every seat but the money seat has a near-filled 18 with it.
So it's kind of hard to see the sub. Can you show us? Sorry. Is it in wall? There we go.
No. The subs are all right. Sorry. I'm just trying to look here. Oh, sorry about that. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. The camera's not upside down here. So the subs are kind of there, and like I said, I apologize on this.
No problem.
And then we have the Monolith 7X. That thing is 100 pounds of beast.
Yeah.
That thing's heavy as hell, and then the TV is 100 pounds too. And then this is my center channel with my 6.5, 4 and tweeter MB quart, and then it's made with tiger wood and some canary wood. And then of course you have my CVR 4-channel amplifier. That's a beast. And then the last thing where everybody complains about Kaleidoscape, there's a much cheaper version for that, and this is the Moore Endorsey crate. So you can hold 100 DVDs. You have zero loss when you play it, and you only have to buy the movie once. And the other thing it does is the other thing that you could do that Kaleidoscape can't is they have these thing called records. It holds about 100 records too, and you don't have any data loss with that either. So.
Oh man.
I
So
love it.
so
I
all your
love it.
NOS stuff, and you're worried about, you're worried
And
about.
you can expand that to the ceiling.
Oh yeah, and they also have Pepsi crate, Coca-Cola crate. I think there's like some ammunition crate, gunpowder. But this is the painting actually I kind of based with my barn doors and the stuff on that. So it's pretty cool. It's found it at the same antique store that I got my movie marquee poster. So that's sorry. So
So
like I said, this is all
let's
the
go over
stuff.
some equipment again. So you're using the monolith amp. What
Yeah,
processor
that's a
or
7. That's that. I've got the 4700 Denon with a
okay.
Sony 800 DVD.
All right. And then as far as display wise, what are you using for
It's a 86-inch LG. I got it for Christmas this year, and then it's actually last year's model. So I had when your daughter pays you 6 months worth of insurance that you already bought, so Daddy's got to go buy him a new TV. Because
understand?
I was rocking a 55-inch Westinghouse that actually worked really good, but because I'm more of a sound guy than I am a video guy, so it's like I can deal with a small screen, but it's sound is my preference. But so I got last year's LG 86-inch for $1,000, and then because I really wanted the Sony, but that was like $1,500.
Was that a G3 or is that a do you know the model number?
It was the cheaper. It was the cheapest thing they had in the 86. So it's like the LG 7.
So it's not OLED.
No.
Okay.
It's just like that. It gives me a big ass screen because I was gonna go. I really wanted the Epson LS 800, but my room's not quite because it's like I still have I still got open windows. I don't have the light control on the stuff, and I just finished painting in here, so it was. So I'll go ahead and I'll switch it back over here. Yeah, and I'll hang up here. All right, sorry about that. Where do you disconnect here? All right. Oh, I'm back here on the.
I gotcha.
Oh. Okay. How do I disconnect here from there? All right. Sorry about that. But yeah, so no, I have I've got and then sorry about that because I'm using my base layer is the Monoprice 7X, so I got 200 watts by 7, and then on the upper front when I bought my second Model 2s is I knew because I wanted my old receiver was a 5.1, but it had the preamp output for a 7 channel for a 7.1. So I was like, well, let me try that and see if I like it. So when I got my second set of the Model 2s on the Vandersteens, I also got an NAD 272, and that's like about 150 watts a channel. So now that's running my front Atmos, and then I'm strictly using my Denon to power the rear. So I'm getting 125 watts a channel, true, because it's 2 channels driven. So that's kind of sorry about the shakiness and stuff on the picture stuff, but it's but yeah, so it's like I said, it's and the things with these stereo integrities on the 18s, it's 4 cubic feet, so you only need a box that's 2 foot by 2 foot by 1 foot deep, so they're not taking up very much space.
So the box that we were looking at looked like
really
looked like it was a lot deeper than what you.
So, are you guys muted or?
No,
Oh,
we
I
can
know.
hear you.
Hold on.
We can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yep, I hear you,
Sorry, I had
Don.
everything.
Yep,
You know.
we hear you.
Shit. Come on.
Oh, his speakers are turned down because he turned them down.
Sorry. No, hold on. Let me do 1 sec. Oh,
Can you hear us
sorry, I
now?
had the computer turned all the way down with
Yep.
that. Sorry about that, guys.
Yeah. So the
yeah.
box that you built, that
Mhm.
is looks a little bit bigger than what you're talking about as the minimum.
No, no, those boxes are 4.5 cubic feet. So it's a they're the box that box is like 15 inches deep internally, and it's like 21 by like 22. It works out to be four and a half cubic feet, and then I got 2 pounds of 2 pounds of polyfill in there because Stair Integrity says 1 pound of polyfill per cubic foot. So we got 2 bags from Wally World, and it works good.
And that's
And
just
then
like almost like a I don't know. You call it
it's
polyfill. It's like a
it's a
pillow fluff,
dampening
right?
material. You can do, it just adds a little bit of surface area, a little dampening in the subs,
Yeah.
and a lot of times people will cram it up, but
Did you do any
the
bracing in the subs when
oh yeah,
you?
oh yeah, no, the subs have got the back with these the I'm using 3/4 MDF. The back is double thickness, and then the fronts are there's a full U. I've got a full 3/4 inch. It's basically a U shape to clear to clear the driver.
Okay.
So you got the cross brace on that,
Right.
and then the additional though with these hardwoods that I'm using, because the fronts and the tops are not veneer; they're 1 inch thick boards on that. So you're adding addition much stronger than you would with just double thickness on the MDF, because these hardwoods are, people think, hickory, where that's just hard as crap wood, and the hardness is about 18 or 1900 on the hardness scale. And most of these woods I'm using is like anywhere from 22,000 to 3,800 hardness.
Okay.
So you can pick up these woods, and you're adding a shit ton of weight to those boxes, because those boxes are probably, I'd be afraid to weigh it because you need 2 guys to move it. So
So
it's probably 150 pounds with no amplifier in
so when you built the sub,
there.
excuse me, the box,
Hmm.
did you double layer the front or
Well,
triple layer the?
it's single layer MDF, but the wood trim I'm using on it is 1 inch thick wood. So
Okay.
it is a double thickness on that, and they're solid glued all the way. You go when you do these things, you get crazy with the wood glue on both sides, and then
Right.
I'll actually nail it down, but it's all fitting all the stuff. So that those boxes are all, it's double thickness on the front, double thickness on the top, and then it's double thickness on the back of the 3/4 inch MDF.
So Ike
So
says I'm getting ideas and he's concerned.
Yeah,
Well,
when
but
when
but
Don
the
starts
problem
asking
is
questions like this, it's like
no, it is
Don is
dirt
getting
cheap,
he's getting
because
ideas.
you could pick up the Behringer. A Behringer amp is like the Behringer 3000 is like $415, and if you bridge it, you got, well, they say it's, but you got a legitimate 2,000 watts for that sub, and you can, because you could, in those boxes effectively, the driver's about, I think it's 9 inches deep. So with the double thickness to be, your box can only, be less than 12 inches, and then you can make them, kind of a squat, or, you can make it as tall or as wide as you
right.
want. But these boxes are minimum, but the sound on, because I mean, even when, if you're playing the intro to The Edge of Tomorrow, or you're playing the opening scene from Blade Runner, even, I mean, with the CVR I'm running, that's a $1,500 amp, and you're gonna at 4 ohms, they're rated at 3,500 watts,
That's
and at
crazy.
and 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 it's 2 ohm stable. But even if with it, because it's a clone amp, and even if it's 80% efficient, you're still pushing almost 3,000 watts continuous. This isn't peak. This is continuous. So it's because I can tell you when I went from because I had my Behringer 3000 on the one, and then I had the Behringer 6000 on the other two. When I hooked up that CVR, you're definitely getting more than 2,000 watts there per channel.
Yeah. No,
In,
so what
in the base,
Ike doesn't realize is that if I'm asking questions, it's already because I've done the investigation, right?
No, that's why I said you're getting ideas. I know. I can tell
and
the
the
tell
crazy
signs.
thing though, because it's like I probably have $200 to $400 just in the wood, because I didn't want a black sub box, and I did on my speaker over here. I used the Brazilian walnut, but I like my other stuff. So my
Yeah, I was
fourth
looking
one
at
over
two
here.
of the Stereo Integrity. I think they're the 21 carbon inch fiber, carbon
No,
fiber.
you have the 24, either the 24 or the 18.
Yeah,
And the thing is though, on that 24, you only need 8 cubic feet of
right,
space.
exactly.
Everybody else is making the boxes bigger, but Nick said you only need, because his boxes that he had at Mwave were the 2 foot by 2 foot by 2 foot. So that's the internal dimension. So if you add, and then you basically on those 24s, you want a double thickness on the front and the double thickness on the back, and then you reinforce it. The box is actually really small, and
Yeah,
you could run 10,000 watts on the
I was gonna
because his.
put one on each side because
Hmm?
I'm gonna have four 15s in the front, and then I have
Hmm?
the monolith two 15s. Those were gonna go in the
Yeah,
back, and
yeah.
then I was thinking of putting those two
But are
24s
you
on
running
each
sealed?
side,
Are you running sealed, or are you running ported?
sealed. So I'll be using
Okay.
the port
Yeah.
cover on the monolith.
Because the boxes on because as soon as you go ported on those 24s, you got double coffin size.
Exactly.
Somebody that, and then that's where with these sealed stuff, and with the four subs in here, it's fucking magic. I mean, I'm just kind of, it's and then but the thing is like, even when I used to have my Hayabusa, the throttle works both ways. So it's, even at low volumes, you have incredible bass response in here. And I don't even have a U mic 1 yet, and it's, to me it sounds really 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 good here.
You know
But
what?
it's
You're the only one
and
that
then
needs to
the
think that
bass
it sounds
is
good.
not boom. So I mean, I don't know.
A
Are we allowed
masterclass
to?
says I'm waveforming. I just want, I'm trying to do like six subs, two in each corner. I mean, one in each corner, which are double stacked, and then
Mhm.
something to cover in the middle. Because honestly, if you look at
You
all
can
the
play real cheap
diagrams,
with these 18s, because I mean, you can like I said, I mean, that's where Sheldon went with four stacked in each corner.
exactly.
So he's got 16, but you're only talking $2,000 worth of speakers though.
Right, right.
You
Yeah.
know,
So I mean, it would just, that's an after effect for me because I do have
Mhm.
an area that I've already framed out to put on the two sides so that I'll have six subwoofers. So that's an after
Yeah,
effect of the theater. It'll just be me
yeah.
taking a keyhole saw
There's
and cutting and
the
cutting.
yeah,
So
but yeah. So like I said, you only have to go. The I think those 24s are going to be 15, or I forget, 15 or 18 inches they're pretty deep, but
Yeah.
effectively, if you just make the box to fit the driver, you're almost where you need to be at
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
on that.
Yeah. I
With the
looked
seal,
at it.
you can.
From my back from my concrete wall or block wall to the
Mhm.
front where I framed everything out, it's 9 inches. Plus, I'm adding 4 more inches onto
Mhm.
the front, so it's going to be close. So I'll have to
Well, I
see.
mean, I mean, seriously, these, because they're depending on what box you get with these HT 18s, you're either going to get the 600-watt version or the 750. These things are set up for infinite baffle, ported, and sealed. And these drivers, even with the amount of power I'm pushing on these, are barely moving. And there's a 25 millimeter X Max, and that's 70%. So you effectively, those things are rated at 35 millimeters one way. So you effectively have almost 70 millimeters just with these cheap ass, and they're not cheap. They're pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I don't like them at all, but it's just, and like I said, your box only. I've always been one on enclosures to include the, add the additional space for the driver. So that's why, and then just the way everything worked, I went with a 4.5 cubic feet, but it's all, I just kind of played with it. And then I put and like I said, as soon as I hooked up that Behringer, and the first time it hit, it's like, well, that mono price is going to go, I'm going to have to sell it. And then right after that, they were like, well, we'll give you full store credit. And like, that's free money there. It's just free rental and stuff till I could get my my my, my 7-channel mono price, because that was like $1,500. So I was like, because as soon as it came up, because it was probably that only one that came up, because right after that it was sold out again. So it was like the stars aligned and everything, because I was looking at getting the Buckeye amps on it, because like I said, these Vandersteins are not efficient speakers at all. I think the my twos are like 89, and I know these VSMs are only like 86. So you need a ton of power to drive them. And then, like I said, and the good thing with, because of the levels I like listening to have 8-inch drivers on everything, it makes this is a pretty good place to watch a movie on that. So it's just I was pretty, I'm pretty happy with it.
Yeah.
So and then well, the telltale sign, my son is in the room right next to me above in his gaming room, and I don't know what he's complaining about, but he's saying something about earth sounding and feeling like earthquakes. And then sometimes after watching, you know either Midway or Hacksaw Ridge, some PTSD because of the battle fatigue of all the stuff where it's going up through the stuff. But it's like, yeah, I am pressurizing. I'm probably pressurizing the house in here, but all the rooms in here is insulated. All the walls, the floor, and everything was already pre-insulated, so it's still semi contained until, when you go full rock and roll, it's all bets are off. So it's just,
Yep.
Yeah. No,
so
it's,
it
it's
was,
definitely an interesting system. It's not something we see every
and
day.
then, like I said, it's to my taste, and it's like, I know I'm breaking all the rules. Where, a 12 by 12 room, why would you put 418? Because you can, and it's a good place to be with a lot of power. And then, like I said, I love people always on these shows and stuff. People are always wanting approval on the speakers. It's like, it's such a personal thing. If you spend $1 million on what somebody says is a good speaker, but if it doesn't excite you, it's just another pair of junk speakers on
Right.
that. So it's so you got to find what you like, and it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. So it's like I said, I found the Vandersteens, like I said, in 88, 87, and then I'm still using them today. They're old ass speakers, but they work really good.
Still
So it's
works.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, look,
don't be afraid, because it's like on the high end speakers, people baby the shit out of them. It's like, oh no, I don't want to turn that up. Something's gonna happen. It's like, man, why not? It's a good place to be. And it's better to overpower your speakers than it is to under them, because and that's always why I always had my Denon. I always tried to get the most power I could, because I always knew, because it's, you're going to distort it and everything else. And then it's like, or you get your new Denon receiver, because your 5.1 isn't 4K compatible. So I was because on my 5.1 system with the Denon, I had my Vandersteen sub, and then I had the monoprice, and I was just wiring it off, so in the front and the back. And then when I got the new 4700 with the split channel, I think we got way too much level, because I kind of set the the amp at, like, 12 o'clock position, and then I was using the level, the signal from the receiver to do it, and it probably got a little too hot for it. So now we don't have that problem now. So it's a
Yeah.
like I said, don't think small, people, because you think small, it's going to be small. And and it's, get what you want. And you know try to optimize what you're you know what you can do, because I'm a guy that, I always try to get the big. I don't have a ton of money, so it's always, you got to get the best bang for your buck. So don't be afraid to pay, for used stuff. It's just. And then, there are options out there, and like I said, these stereo integrities are, you can't. It's like I said, it's like I have to check, even when I'm listening at pretty sustained levels. Is the speaker working? But I think, because it's also an infinite baffle, that it's a really, really rigid speaker, that you're not, even with what I'm pushing on it, they're barely moving. But it's a good
right.
place.
So if you said you don't have a U mic, how are you calibrating? How did you blend those together? Did you
By
just let the Denon
listening. I
do it?
mean, I was in the first areas, and I mean, everything's level matched, and I have a Odyssey on it, but because from my main listening position, all my speakers, the front speakers are are identical to my center position, and then my rear speakers are tied to the other channel, which are identical too. So it works. I mean, I don't have a bad spot on my love seat or any position here. There's not a place where you're like, man, I'm not feeling it, where it's good, and then I can be laying down. And effectively, too, though, all my seated positions, if you're on a corner, are near field also. So like I said, it's a little different than most people.
Yeah.
Maybe a little over the top.
So to blend, are those speakers, are they daisy chained? Excuse me, not speakers, subwoofers. Are your subwoofers, are they daisy chained, or do you have them
Well, I've got the four
running like
channel
through a
unit.
mini
So,
DSP?
so what I'm doing is, I've got two outputs on my Denon.
Right.
So the one output's coming up, and then I have a Y that goes to the two front channels, and then my second output for my subwoofer 2 goes to the rear channels with a Y.
Okay.
So
Okay.
my sub one my sub one controls my front two speakers, and then my sub two controls my rear two speakers.
I see.
And then it's just strictly. I mean, it's money I didn't have yet. So you work with what you got,
No,
and
absolutely.
then
Yeah, I was
So,
just
but
curious on how you had them
it's
connected.
pretty close because it's even where I'm sitting against the wall. It's not boomy. You would think it is, but it's not.
Well,
But
yeah, I
it's
mean, you have the
you know
two kind of you almost like they say here waveforming. You kind of got them, you know,
yeah. Well, we're house shaking. I don't know about
playing
weight.
the same and then meeting in the middle.
Oh
So
yeah, no, it is. And then, like I said, my seating, my whole room. So my distance is only probably 10 feet. Well, I think it's maybe 9 feet, 10 feet from the subs, and then you're only the rear ones are only probably 6 feet, if that. So it's a good place to be.
yeah, yeah, no, I mean, and you're at the 83, so you're only you said 6 to 8 feet from the 83 inch too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
no, I'm probably from the TV. It's probably 9, 10 foot
okay.
because just the distance of the. I mean, I have the TV is pushed all the way up against, so it's probably 6 or 8 inches off of that, and then I'm probably 10 feet, 10.5 feet from the 86-inch TV.
Okay. And is that wall
So
mounted?
yeah,
It
because
was hard to
so
tell on the video.
yeah, because well, it's pressed up, but because it was either get the I was going to get the Sony, I would have to get the cheap mount, which was like $150, and that only came out like 6 or 8 inches, and I'm like, with an 86-inch screen, there's no fucking way, to get back at everything that I could do that. I got the LG, and then it was like 350 or 400, and that my TV will come all the way out to the front of my center channel, so it comes
Okay.
out almost 2 feet on that. So
Nice.
I was like, you know what? No, I'm gonna get the good. Get the because I don't want that thing coming. If you have to get up behind that with everything, I'm like, there's no way I'll spend the money on the good mount. So it's real simple to get it out. But the bad thing is that the TV, that thing is like the box it came in is like 4 by 8 feet.
Mm-hmm.
It fit in my expedition coming back up, and then we get the wall mount up, and then it's just me and my son's you know 14 years old, and then my wife, and then it just they couldn't get the other side up because you just had to you had to pick it up to get it on that mount. You had to pick it up like 3 or 4 feet to get it up and over, and they couldn't do it. So I had to wait a whole damn day before I could get my TV hooked up because I had to have my neighbor come by and help me to do that. So
Yeah.
that's like have your whole thing, and then you get Christmas, and then guess what? You don't get to open the box for a whole nother day. You get
Yeah.
to see
Trust
what
me.
it is.
I,
It's like
trying to hang my
and,
75 inch that I had by myself was a task. So
but I mean, I had my 55. I had my 55-inch Westinghouse, which guys, I got to tell you, that Westinghouse was one of the best packaged TVs I've seen, bar none, on any cost. Because when you pulled the Westinghouse out, it actually had wood in the box, and that was like a cheap $200 TV. And I
hmm,
mean, if you guys ever need a cheap TV, the Westinghouse TVs, that's a really, really, really good value. Because I had bought a RCA right before that, and cheap is cheap. It lasted about 2 days before the whole thing died, and then so I ended up having to get the Westinghouse, and then RCA basically said, "We'll credit you, but you have to destroy the TV." So I'm like, "Hey kids, you guys want to destroy a brand new 55-inch TV?" It's like that was fun. Yeah, they were all pretty
I'd
young
have had
at
to
that.
Photoshop
That
those
was a
photos. Uh,
Oh no, the TV was junk, so I was going to smash the hell out of it. And if that's what they wanted, God damn it, I
Oh
was going
boy.
to smash. So you always wanted to smash stuff up, and then they give you, we'll give you your money back, but we need proof that you destroyed it. So I'm pretty good at that. So it's like I do have some big hammers and
that would have
and
been
everything.
photoshopped.
Yeah, that would
Well,
have
it was
been shit.
he was junked anyway. If it was a new TV that was working, that would be one thing. But I was already mad as hell. I was going to have to go buy another one now. So
That's funny. So you talked about your panels that you built yourself.
yeah,
Seems like
they're
a lot
they're
of
all they're all 6 inch. They're the full. Whatever size. Is it 4 feet that you get the rock wall when you get the stack?
mm-hmm.
They're 16 inches wide by 4 feet. So it's full rock wool, and they're double thickness on that. So they're 6 inch thick, and I used 1x6, but they are pressure treated wood because it was like $1 difference. And my thought process is there's more mass, so there's less of a chance for vibration and stuff. So that's kind of where I did. And then the top, and because as soon as I put the panels up, and I was like, the speaker cloth, the material I got from Walmart is like the perfect match to the Vandersteen. So I'm like, you know what? God damn it, I gotta go buy some more good looking wood to put them on the top and bottom. So that's where all of my sound panels are 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 finished with. I think it's Chechen wood, so it's a dark wood, but it's still a nice. And the other thing, I don't know if you saw, but underneath my TV, that whole length is it's like that full length is a sound. So basically, treated because I watch enough of the YouTube stuff about acoustics and everything, the importance of it, and basically the gist. If you treat the front and you treat the back, that's probably 80% of you know you're about 80% there. So that's why I went full width. So it's that same panel on the side, but it's like another half thickness on that front, and then because I can't my barn doors, they were supposed to close up, but with my dogs, it they're always feel if I'm in here and they're out there and the door is closed, they're being punished. So that door is always open, and then I have the two windows over here on the right side, and you're getting some natural diffusion anyway. So it works, And the other thing too is I've got some big, thick couches in here. So I've got a ton of absorptive materials, and then I've got, you got some other reflective surfaces. So I think I've got, because even before I put the sound panels up, there wasn't really much of an echo in here, and because I with the couches and love seat that I have in here, and then with my I also have a carpet in here. If you don't really care what if you can get a dark colored carpet, go to your carpet store and go to the back and see if they got some old jobs. So I got basically an 11 by 11 carpet for $50. So if I
Oh,
want to
nice.
go out, it's a dark, it's a dark brown, so it works pretty good, And if I went to the same thing, if I were to go, eventually I'll probably end up doing it, but to get a full to carpet this like it should be with the matting, you're $1,000.
Yeah. So
So
let's talk about the construction of your panel.
okay.
You said that you used a 1x6, right? Did you when you put the rock wool in? So
Mhm.
the rock wool is usually is about 2 inches thick. So did you
It's a
stuff
double,
it
it's a
completely
double
full?
double thickness. I double layered it.
Okay.
So if you were to use a 2x4, a single sheet of the rock wall will be in there. But when you go to a 1x6, it's you're just double layering the rock wall, and then I use like it's
So once you double layered that, did it come all the way to the back, or did
yeah,
it leave an air gap?
thickness. It's that because on the 1x6, it's actually like 5.5 inches. So with
Right.
that double thickness, I mean that's all it is, and then it's some deck screws to throw it into place, and then I also have like a one. It's probably got 3/4 inch or 1 inch thick on the back, so you got a 1 inch gap
And did you
underneath
build any
behind
braces or anything
it.
like that going across them?
No, you don't know. You don't need it. It's just I'm using it's a I don't know, like a weed type of backing because
Hmm.
it's like a real light type of material. It's just enough to hold it in place.
So like
But
a weed cloth.
yeah, it's
Okay.
just enough to hold that, and then I overwrapped it with the with the the speaker material, or it's a really light. I got it from Walmart, but it's the same exact material as the speaker grill cloth. I mean,
Yeah,
it's a I,
I always like to dig in a little bit on the DIY people that come on
Mhm.
the show because I'm a DIY person, so I like to get ideas from other
Yeah,
people,
I mean,
and how they
and
would
when
like to do stuff, and
I
versus the
don't
way
even
I would do it.
yeah. I mean, I don't even think I think I use just the torque screws, and I don't even know if they're fully countersunk in there. But it's real simple on that. You don't have to have. It's just if you probably could put something in the middle so it does, because them stacking up, if you look at these, because initially on the sound panels before, because I had the sound panels kind of off to the side before I got the second set of Andersteins here, so I had some uh, the Polk 15s up here for my rears, and so I just kind of cut it so it's kind of wanting to come down, but for cross bracing, you really don't. It's not a needed thing on it, so it's pretty straightforward. And like I said, it's just they're with the 1x6s. It's a double layer. If you need some thick panels, do a 1x6 board, and you can double layer the rock wool in there, and it's nice even on both. It fills it up perfectly with that with the double rock wall, and it just I just you can trim it back if you don't want the full length, but when you got a whole thing, you might as well use it.
No, absolutely. Yeah, I was just wondering if it left a little air gap in the back because
Well,
I know that they say, to put the panel off the wall a little bit to give it a
and
little bit of
that's
air
where
gap.
yeah, because that's where I put. There's actually another board across another cross brace because it's enough to space to give you that air gap.
Okay.
And then also, I just gotta. These are I didn't do. I did it basic as hell. So you get the 3.5 inch bolts, and you do them in, and you hang them up on that, and you're done. Nothing fancy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, I mean, look, and to be honest with you, it doesn't have to be fancy, right? So as
Yeah,
long as you're happy with the
it works.
results and
I
you're
mean,
happy with
it
how
works.
your theater sounds. Now you mentioned um, a couple of the guys that are going to have uh,
Mhm.
theater tours at Mwave. Jonathan. Speaking of
Shelby.
Mwave, if you haven't gotten your tickets yet, 21 days away, everyone. So make sure that you do get your tickets and come to Mwave. It's going to be a great experience. It was a great experience last year. We had Michael Youthman on the show last week, and he talked about Mwave. So if you haven't seen it, go ahead and tune in on that. We went over the vendors and the rooms and stuff like that. So make sure that you check out that episode if you haven't already. But you talked about Jonathan's theater. Did you happen to tour that last year?
Well, because I work for a company that's based out of Kansas City, and I just happened to schedule 2 weeks of training, and that M-Wave followed in between the two. And I saved the company money by staying there. I didn't have to fly back home to North Carolina and go back, so it was a paid vacation for me. But I told my boss what I was doing in the first place. But so I was able to do Grant's and Ryan's theater last year. I missed Jonathan, so I actually met up with them, and actually I kind of got lucky, and I got my own personal tour
Oh,
uh,
nice.
All
later
right.
on in the so. But I got to tell you though, Jonathan's system is the gold standard for everybody. That's no bullshit, and he's doing stuff, and he's not using JTR, he's not using per listen, He's not. He's all his subs are all the Dayton. What is it? The 18M22.
Yeah, the UM18s. That's the one I was telling
And he
Ike
has
to
8
get.
of them. So in his current setup, he's got them stacked 4 and 4. But when I went in there last year, he had the 5 in the smiley face, and then with the three with the near fields. And I was always kind of thinking, well, the tactile transducers and the near field, that's a bunch of hokey crap. Well, my 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 system is on a suspended floor, so I get incredible bass response here. And like tactile transducers, you really don't need it, but technically I kind of have 418s as tactile transducers because they're mounted on the floor. And he showed me, he showed it with everything on, and then he showed it with the near fields off, and then with the butt kickers off, and then with the all his stuff, and he showed each thing. And then with on a concrete floor, that's a whole different, you're fighting a lot of different stuff. And when you go visit Jonathan's system, he's the harbinger of death for your finances, because then you realize the way that, and that's why I said, ignorance is very cheap, because as soon as you have knowledge and you go to Mwave, it's like, son of a gun. Oh, I know what. Now you have to, that's where I kind of went down the rabbit hole, and, and I chased it pretty good to the light now. So this is a pretty nice place to be now in here. But once you realize what things can be, it could get real expensive.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's got a fantastic setup. I actually am going to have the privilege of
I saw that.
touring
That's
his.
a really good, and he's good people. Man, it's just what you see on the AV experience is the guy that you meet. But I think it's more Twilight Zone, where he's like the alien controlling everybody on the stuff, and then it's like, oh, this guy's, oh no, this is the way you're supposed to do it, and then it's like, oh, and then you don't know what hit you.
Yeah, I'm going to be touring his theater on Thursday. I think it's going to be in the afternoon. And then I have 2 other ones that I'm going to tour also. I wanted to show some support to, those guys that are putting their theater out there. So
it's definitely worth it, because I'm doing Sheldon. I've got was it Trippy, and then also Jayhawker.
Okay,
So,
when are you coming into town?
I'm probably going to be coming in. I'm driving, but I'm probably me and my son's gonna. He doesn't give a shit about it, but he's gonna come experience it all and stuff. So it's I'm probably gonna be there on Tuesday-ish.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah, I'm flying in super early Wednesday, so I think I fly out of Fort Lauderdale at 7, and I'll be there around 9 or something like that. I actually gain an hour flying back because I'm on the East Coast. So, but so you're driving from North Carolina. That's going to be a little hike.
Yep. It's no worse. I had to do a funeral here, and I had to drive from Texas, and that's left Sunday about 6 or 7 in the morning on Sunday, and then I had to go back to Charlotte to pick up my car and then back up. It was probably 10 o'clock. We drove straight through, so that was I know road tripping and stuff. Oh, but yeah, so that's kind of where
Paul don't know yet, but I'm going to show up at his house on Wednesday.
I may or may not be here. The door codes.
First and ask questions later. I don't know what happened. No, have you seen Don? No, he never showed up.
Paul's gonna be like, I didn't have a roll up screen before. No,
I got one.
No, yeah, I'll be in early on Wednesday, so If
The only
anybody
thing I would
wants,
be afraid of missing is my drywall.
trust me, I'm not taking it down to rehang it.
Being mean? Why are you just being mean?
I'm like, oh man, what? Oh, I know who was here. Never mind.
I just take the whole stud wall. I'm not going to take the.
Just the whole wall.
Falls off. Falls off is wonderful.
As long as I don't have to
my
finish
grip
it,
is still
I'm
there,
good.
You know, it's not high. It doesn't have enough zeros on the inside. You know, the wall is like, oh, those are finished. I'll take those.
It's like building a sub box over there, Ike, right?
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd say that's crazy, man.
Yeah, no. So I'll be coming in Wednesday morning. So if anybody, wants to hang out or do anything, reach out. Send us an email at hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. And then we'll maybe be able to meet up on Wednesday or Ike. What day are you coming in?
Early Thursday morning.
Early Thursday morning. Okay.
I
So
think
yeah,
you'd say
I'll be there.
Friday.
So if you guys,
No,
want-
I'm coming in early this time. Like, I'll leave very early, so I'll be there. Technically, I'm leaving Wednesday early in the morning. So
how many hour drive is that
Wednesday.
for you?
Like 8 or 10, I would imagine.
eight hours.
Oh, I wish it was.
Yeah, for
it's
you,
it's 8 hours.
I looked at
With
driving
my-
for
with-
me. I think it's like 20 hours for me from
Oof,
South Florida.
Yeah, that's too much. If
Yeah.
it was an 8-hour trip, I'd make it 10 because of my black.
Right. So yeah, you won't be able to drink on the drive either, Paul. So it might be an issue.
Well, you know.
Well, you can, but legally
no public,
you can't.
well, no
Drink
public
I drink
acknowledgement.
I drink Gatorade and Coke and water usually.
I made a trip to North Carolina one time.
A Red Bull every once in a while.
I made a trip to North Carolina one time and decided that buying slushies and vodka was a good idea. So,
Man, yeah, that's tough.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't do that.
yeah. Vodka dehydrates you, man.
yeah,
Like,
I didn't
geez.
say I was driving. I said I made a trip.
Okay.
But
Okay, you were flying on the trip, so you bought slushes and vodka flying. Yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, no flying. I was a passenger, but yeah, I thought that was a great idea. It wasn't, trust me. So how many hours for you, Todd, to drive over there? Do you know off the top of your head?
Hold on, I'll let you know. Here. Just a second.
Yeah, because it was 20 hours for me.
So-
And I was like, there's
Audio
absolutely-
wise, how long did it take you to build one of your speaker enclosures from start to finish with
it's
letting
only-
everything dry and finish?
I mean, It actually doesn't take that the to do the boxes. I mean, you can knock it off in cutting it all out a day or a weekend, but it's the finishing of the hardwoods and then trying to, because I mean I don't have a ton of tools. It's all I've got a table saw, I've got a circular saw, jigsaw, and then a router, and then you're trying to put all the pieces to the top stuff in the sides are real easy, but to fit all the stuff around the speaker and then have the it's tons of stuff, and then you go a little bit too deep and or you get what and then chip it off, it's kind of tedious, it could be, you could have a couple of days just finishing all your wood pieces, but once you get it in there, because most of the wood pieces are just cut and then I nail it, and then you cut it to the base hole first, and then I just router out or you get it, or you kind of, initially I just cut the hole and to the main speaker hole, and then I was routering out, but that's some really hard wood stuff, so so now I got more where I'll try to I'll get a Sharpie and then match those trim wood pieces on that, and and do it all up. But it's just it actually it's not that hard, and you could use, you know, because I mean these are all are the finish I'm using on them is a Rubio Monaco, and it's a hardwood floor finish, and it's satin. But like when the lights go out here, everything's pretty black. There's you know, if you use some of the lighter wood, you might see that, but I'm using the TV, so light control, it doesn't matter to me.
Right, right.
But it's still it goes dark, and like I said, my one speaker here is all the walnut, but that's just a, you know, if I have all my lights off here, that's just the pitch black stuff. But you can have something to get that looks really really good, but it's not your typical just painted black speaker. It's just I wanted to do something, and then because you can use cherry, you could use walnut, you can use cedar. You know, there's a lot of stuff out there. Or if you can get into the exotic wood stuff, and then of course the price goes up with that, depending on, you know, if you like, you know, I like the more figured curly stuff, and then you're doubling the price of whatever wood you're choosing, and it's not like you're going into like Lowe's where all the wood is perfectly matched. You know, depending on what you get, you know, the wood may be bowed or cupped or twisted, and you've got to make it all work. And you know, so if you try to plane it all down, you know, your 1 inch board is now a 1/4 inch thick once it gets all flat. So you just kind of make it all work and trim it down, and you know, it is what it is on the stuff.
So I'd
But
like
you
to
can
welcome Calvin to the show. Mr. Calvin, how are you doing, sir?
How's
Why,
everybody
do-
doing?
why, why do I feel like you hopped on just to tell me face to face you asked me to buy the 18s? And I chose.
Buy the 18, get the 18.
Oh, man.
But
That's
no,
funny.
I was really glad, you know, that the actual guest that you all have on today, he has some of the speakers, the subs that I like, and they're cheap, they're super
it,
affordable,
but
and they perform
it's
super well,
inexpensive.
you know.
It's inexpensive, but it's not. It ain't a cheap speaker. And let me tell you what, it's like, you know, Ryan talks about with the bass being wet bass. You know, it, and then you have the other side of that where you know, Poe is saying, hey, bass is all, everybody likes their bass a bit too salty anymore. So my system I kind of come up with where it's a top shelf margarita with some nice fresh cracked salt on the top. It'll go down really smooth, but you will get hammered.
You know,
Yeah.
one thing I learned about bass, just you know, all these years, like I know that in speakers and different things, there's a difference from something that is super cheap to something that's mid range to something that is, you know, really up there. But in the bass, like the physics of bass is pretty simple, and it doesn't take a lot to get you a long, long way. You know, when you're in car audio, you have a much smaller place to put the actual subs, right? So that's where you can get into spending a whole lot of money to eke out the very last little bit of, um, you know, per performance, because you know you only have that, you know, a very small amount of space to work with. But in a room, you have a ton of space to work with, right? So it's like, yes, you can go out and buy a driver or a sub that costs $5,000, or I can buy 3 drivers that cost $300 and get a similar type of, you know, performance because of the amount of air that I am able to actually move, right? So you don't have to spend a ton of money at all to make it sound good. Now there is looks and, you know, things like that that go into it. So that's why, like in my room, I went with the carbon fiber 24s and, you know, and some other stuff because I was going for the actual look, but I could do it for a whole lot cheaper too.
Ike, are you able to pull up those stereo integrity subwoofers and so that we can share them on the screen?
Pull them up from the website? Or?
Yeah.
Yeah, I find doing like any self build, like doing the design, which that usually takes a couple days if you're really doing it yourself. Then obviously the design is the basic shape. Then you have to actually not you don't have to CAD it. You can just draw it out, but you have to CAD like, okay, I got two cross beams. How am I going to cut those? How am I going to make those exactly? You're going to jig up, everything to make everything be able to be cut exactly. If you're doing everything from scratch, and that usually that's a little bit of time, and then cutting the wood and then gluing it all together, and then you set it. So that probably would take a day, probably 4 or 5 hours, but then the rough part is the finishing. It's like, because even that, you're done, right? But that's the rough box. It's like it's not car audio where you can just, let's throw some carpet on it and we're good to go. Now you have to either putty it or bondo it to get rid of any joints or compounds, sand it, and you got to let it dry in between each thing. So it's usually 3 or 4 days of a couple hours per day.
And that's what I was trying to tell Kelvin, right? I was like, look, I can build me a DIY sub, but that thing ain't gonna look good, bro. Like it's gonna look like
so
it's
even
gonna
me,
look like
Yeah. And if you're doing like me, like I did on my bar, you do like a polyurethane coat or something. It's like, man, you gotta that's like
So find the subwoofers.
Coats.
Yeah, but like it's gonna look good, but man, it's gonna work, but it's gonna be ugly as hell.
Yeah, one thing that you can do is what I did was, one thing that I did was I just found someone to build me the box, right? Like I didn't put any of that stuff together. Like, yes, I got the driver, put it in, and I got a gasket and all the stuff that you would normally do when you install them, but I got Charles King from Dunn, Florida, to build my box, and only because I wanted to. I really liked him, but there's
So
guys
click on those
find
HT18
around the
version
way
3s.
That's the bad boys right there.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
$200.
$200. I mean,
$200?
It's delivered. Unless you're in North Carolina, it's $214 delivered.
Yeah.
That's including shipping.
And I want to say that they handle 750 watts of power, which is underrated slightly.
Wait. Let's put it like this. I'm probably pushing close to 3,000 watts per 18.
Wow.
28 continuous, that's not peak power. That's a continuous rating on that. So they're way underrated.
Now,
and you said they were designed to be open baffle, ported, or
you can do infinite baffle. You can do infinite baffle. You can do sealed, which is 4 cubic feet, and then I think the ported box is like 8 cubic feet.
Yeah, you would definitely really want to run these sealed, because the ported box, for it to really perform, you're looking at probably 12 to 15 cubic feet, and then of course infinite baffle.
Is in there what the box size? I don't know what it may be.
So
bigger,
mounting depth is only 9.17 inches, so it's not bad at all.
No, it's shallow as hell.
It's really just
a sealed, and your box, the overall box, because if it's 9.5 inches, they want a double. He said the double thickness on the back and on the front, but that's if you have the cutout, you're there. But so your box effectively can be like 11.5, 12 inches is as deep as it has to be. Where my boxes are like 17 deep, so it's a little skinnier and taller and a little bit more deeper. But I just kind of pick that height of what I wanted, and because part of my box design too is I wanted to get, show more wood on my finish. So that's kind of why I went with a taller. I think my box is like 22 or 20, 24 inches tall. I forget.
So these are the enclosure recommendations here. So
Yeah.
sealed
And then I
4
was gonna say
cubic.
this: keep in mind that these recommendations that Nick has on his site are the minimums, kind of like, right?
Minimum
So
safe.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
you can't
wondering
go
why you
bigger.
would tune these to 22 hertz at the port enclosure.
Well, again, that's
Box
so like,
design.
you can you would want to tune it to around 15 to 12 hertz, but now you're looking at a box that is 16 cubic feet, right? So
Mhm.
that's where the difference is. So he has it based off of minimum sizes. So
Right.
with if you go with 8 cubic feet, you're looking at around 22 hertz. But if you really want to go up to 16, 15, 14 hertz, now you're looking at a huge
Big ass
box,
box.
which
That's a
at that price you can just buy two. Instead of buying one driver, you can buy two, right? And then you can just run them sealed and get similar performance that
Similar
the actual
output.
port is
Yeah.
giving you. So
Yeah, that's
exactly.
true.
And
That
you can
makes
do
sense.
sealed. Well, so what's cool about doing your own is, you know, let's say like the one you need 2, or 4 cubic feet, right, for the 18, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can make that really skinny and really wide and make it
Correct.
behind your couch, or
Because the box only needs to
Like a
be
truck
8.
box almost.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
exactly. That's the cool thing about DIY, because the speaker doesn't care
Mhm.
I mean, if you got the time, you can make that any shape you want.
You
I
just
mean,
need 9.5 inches deep is what you need.
Deep is all you need.
Mhm.
yeah. And so one thing that's really cool
That's what
about
she
that
said.
is, one thing
I
that
teed that one up for you.
Yeah, I know.
one
I can tell you
thing
were waiting.
one thing that is like cool about that is if you wanted to hide your sub, you can build it super like shallow. You can build
Yep.
a
You
solid
can go
baffle wall,
all
put it in the
Yeah, just
wall,
put it in a
down.
baffle.
yeah, and will nobody even know.
Yeah.
You can build 3 in one box type of deal.
I'd like to see
where
what kind of performance I would get as these being open baffle.
Mm-hmm.
Did it say
So
that on there?
okay, so infinite baffle means that you would have to put that speaker into the
In the wall.
wall
Inside a
pretty much,
wall,
Right.
right?
and
Yeah.
Like
then the
like an
actual and then
architectural speaker.
yes, but the difference is that the actual backside of it is going to be open, right?
Right.
Which means that whoever is on the backside of that is getting just as much energy as you're getting up on the actual front side of it.
Mhm.
So,
That's what my
that's
concrete walls are for.
but then if that space is not big enough, it's
Big
not
enough,
infinite
it's gonna.
baffle. You know what I'm saying? Like it has to go over a certain cubic feet for it to be infinite baffle. Which at that point it kind of just becomes sealed, right? So it's like you have to have enough airspace up on the back side of it for it to become infinite baffle.
Yeah,
It
so
would
I
still work
pulled the wall
similar
off.
to
I
it.
pulled the framing
yeah,
off of the
he
wall
has
9
a
inches.
like 10 by 12 by 14-foot tall speaker box
Yeah.
for his infinite baffle. So
hmm
the question is,
Yeah,
what would
so
be the
it'll be closed.
performance?
I mean, easy. I mean, which you can. Matter of fact, I can actually do it. If you could tell me what is the cubic feet of that actual space, I can take it and I can put it up in. I can put it up in the system and
When
model it, and it should be very similar to like sealed. I would think. I don't think about the great thing about infinite baffle is it takes less power. So like if these speakers take 750 watts to reach a certain volume, with infinite baffle it may take 300 because there's not any back pressure that's going back up against it. So the sub becomes really efficient as far as like movement goes.
Yeah, so I mean, like I said, I've pulled the wall off 9 inches, so it's got all that room behind it for 21 feet and 9 feet tall. So
Yeah, I mean
it's got plenty
that
of
would
room.
that would work. The only thing is it would have to be sealed, like completely sealed, because you don't
Well,
want
it's gonna have
anything.
drywall, double
Yeah.
layer of drywall, so it's gonna be sealed all the way from floor to ceiling.
Okay, yeah, that'll work.
So I was just wondering what type of measurements I would get for something like that.
I mean, you would get the same. You would get great performance, and it would be less power. You wouldn't need as much power because you have less resistance up on the backside.
Right.
Since the speaker can operate as an infinite baffle. Whereas like with the 24s, Nick makes a infinite baffle model and a non-infinite baffle model because the one that's made for infinite baffle is truly designed to work within that space.
Go back to those 24s. Let me take a look at those.
With the big, but those are going to be a whole lot deeper though too.
The bad part about it is there goes my soundproofing that I did.
You need a very powerful magnet structure to have infinite baffle because
that one at the bottom, that the IB24 is the infinite baffle.
While the basic theory is true, the infinite baffle takes less power, but it also can introduce more distortion because again you have no air,
no control on the driver.
Well, the way that these IB subs are designed,
they're designed
it's really designed for it. So like this sub, for instance, I think that Nick has it as rated as maybe 1,000 watts. I think as far as what it can take, whereas the other one can take up to 3,000.
Essentially, you have to have a really, really strong spider in the
Sounds like we need to reach out to Stereo Integrity, Ike, and get them on the show,
right?
Yeah.
Yep. I might reach out to Kyle.
Let them send me a couple of demo units.
They'll be at Mwave, and you can talk to them directly.
Yep, they'll be there. Yeah, and they're pretty good guys.
Yeah, I mean, I spoke with them last time at Mwave. So
they all eat
1,500 watts RMS.
Kyle should be there also. Cowboys probably gonna be there.
They all
with
eat
them.
Protein for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
If you got to move those subwoofers, there has to be like a muscle mass. They probably have a muscle mass requirement to work there, man, because you got to move those subs, man.
You know how you apply for a job and it says must be able to lift 50 pounds? Not this one.
Yeah, must be able to lift 250 pounds.
You know, one of the things that I really like about them, Nick.
Look at the weight of this thing, 100 pounds.
Now that you could do, I guarantee you, that's built good enough to do infinite.
Get your rowing in on that.
That is 100 pounds, man.
Yep.
And it's not even in the box.
Look at that magnet. Click to that last picture.
So
it's not even in the box.
A crazy story. I had to pull out one, right? I put it up in the box, was jamming, and then I finally got my amp hooked up to 240 volts, which is a whole lot more power. And I noticed that, you know, whenever I went down low, like 20 hertz and lower, I kept getting this rattling noise, right? And it was because whenever I put it in, I did not put any like gasket tape around it. You know, you should always put some type of gasket tape around the sub, and I totally forgot. So there was air being pushed back out of the box because it was compressing that much air when it was going low. And so I had to pull that thing out the box. So luckily, I've been back in the gym and stuff working out. So I was able to get it just barely out, and then I got me some done tie, and I wrapped around it, and then pulled it out. But it's not for the faint of, you know, hard.
Wouldn't it have been easier just to unscrew it and kind of turn the box over and then lift the box up?
Well, you know, so like
you're probably talking 150, 200 pounds for the box with the driver.
Yeah. The box. So the box.
Easier said
than
done.
I have is probably about 200 pounds. Yeah. So, and then you would probably damage the driver from the actual surround because the actual surround comes up from. So it's like it's a little bit easier just to kind of get it halfway up out of there.
Yeah.
Some zip ties, and then you wrap it around the hose, and then you just pull it out of there.
Yeah, I'd be scared of damaging that thing for $900 a driver.
No, is that what that is?
$1,000 a driver.
$10,000.
HS, you know,
The
Is
regular
1,400.
4s are like $1,500.
Yeah.
But but think about it, right? Just let's say 1,500 bucks for 24. If you wanted to get, let's say, some of the big drivers that I made, like the 21 inch that the company down in Florida makes, the same company that Gene has,
RBH.
RBH, yeah. The thing is
RBH. Okay.
$10,000
Oh
for
yeah,
a
one of
21.
them's like
Yeah,
the duals are like 14 grand.
yeah. It's like, you know what, 1,400. You pay somebody to make you a box.
Hmm.
Let's say 800, and then the amp. Let's say you can get a 4 channel amp that can push these for 1,000. And have 3 channels left over. You can get a two channel
I
that's
see Ike over
even more
there. He's
powerful.
thinking over there.
I'm not thinking, man.
The
I'm
same
just
thing, right?
checking out. I'm just checking out the options.
18s, like
I'd have to
those
put those
those
speakers right on the
18s
I
are really
beam.
good value.
I know, right? And they go
Yeah.
down wild. 1 ohms and 2 ohms. That's crazy, man.
So a
Yeah.
dual
Who's gonna
one, you'll
carry
be
this?
wired to.
Who's
So
gonna
a
carry
dual
this
one,
stuff
you wire to
upstairs,
two
man?
ohms, and dual four, dual two, you be wired to 4 ohms.
Look at the weight of that thing. 145 pounds. Who gonna take that upstairs for me? I have to build it upstairs, man. That's 145 pounds.
Hey man, you can do it. You can do it.
You have friends. You can
Yeah,
hire some
Yeah, but
movers.
Yeah, that's a lot.
yeah.
that is pretty heavy, and they're awkward too. Yeah,
Yeah,
with all
they
that
come in
back.
crates. They come in these up in these crates, and
So
they're actually screwed down into the
Calvin, you
actual
have
crate.
the HT18 version 3s, or which ones do you have from them?
I have those right there. I have two of those.
Of the
The
IB24s?
24s,
The HS24s.
the
HS24s.
HS24s.
Okay.
Yeah. And currently, right now, in the back of the room, I have two of the 15s, just kind of playing around with them until I decide on what I want to do
Yeah, we
with
got to
the other
get you back
four.
on to do another
You
tour
gotta do
because
two. You gotta do two more of those. You gotta have 4 of them to
Yeah, I
match.
know. You need 424s, man.
Stop messing around, man.
I'm messing
I'm being
around,
kind of
Kev.
cheap,
Let's
man.
go all the way.
I got all of these. I got all of these. I want to say 1812, those JBL 12 that I bought some years ago. So I'm thinking about just putting all those up in a steel box. And 9 of those model out to be very similar to what these can do. Above 30 hertz. Once they get down low, the
right.
24 steel kind of wins. But for the most part, you get similar performance. It's just the form factor would look different. That's about it.
I would look to put some of those JBLs up in the ceiling. Do some infinite baffle up in the ceiling.
Really, bro?
Yeah,
I mean, that is a
you can definitely do
thought.
that.
If we could get Don to finish his whole room just tell him you're doing a speaker box, and the whole wall will be nothing but subwoofers. He'll finish it that way, probably.
Hey, one of these days I'm just gonna pop up on the channel and the shit's gonna be done. You don't know
It'll be
what's gonna
done.
happen.
I can't wait, man.
Yeah,
Just
we got
just
this.
let me know so I can go to the liquor store because I'm gonna drink a whole bottle on live show of my favorite rum. We're gonna
We'll just
party.
live stream my theater the whole night and watch movies together. That a way to get you demonetized very quickly, Ike.
I don't mind giving up that 10 cents. We can live stream it.
Oh,
We
man.
can live stream it. But okay, I guess I can stop.
Yeah, absolutely. Let me change back to our guest here. Let's see.
That's awesome.
Yeah, no, I've been eyeballing those carbon fiber, and I've been either looking at those or doing the RS1s because they would both fit in that area that I was talking about, like literally 90 degrees on each side. So that would give me 6 subs, 8 15s and 2 18s,
There's also a company called One Audio. They make some 24s as well, and they're really good
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, we
There
lost
we go.
Calvin.
Harry, we lost you for a second.
We lost you, Calvin, but I think you're back now. Okay, we hear you now.
Okay, I said that there's a company called One Audio, and they make 24s as well, and they're like $800, $850, and they're like really good too.
Okay.
They're not carbon fiber or anything like that, but they're really good subs.
I see. Yeah. Those what are they? The UM18s. I think those are a darn good speaker too, man. I mean.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're really good.
You know, for the cost, and you know, they're probably right here with these HT18s. You know, from Stereo Integrity, and to put them together in a box or something like that. I did a lot of reading, and I actually talked to the guys at Stereo Integrity when I was looking at doing the carbon fiber 18. They were talking about that you needed 3/4 inch plywood like stacked together on the front of that box that you build. So, you know, it's definitely quite a feat to build that box. You know, it's not something that's you just screw a couple pieces of plywood together. It's you know, you got to glue it, cut it, all that stuff, glue 3 sheets. So
So what if you use HDF?
I think it's 3 sheets of HDF is what they want you to use. Yeah. So it was a lot when I talked to them. You know,
like my home theater is not even made of HDF.
GSG, they make the cabs too, right? So you can just order from them as well. If you want to, if you want it to be simple, I mean, you can order straight from them.
Yeah. Yeah, we got to get you back on, Calvin, because you've done a lot of stuff to your theater since we last had you on. I think you've added some panels, and now you're adding some subs, right? So we got to get you back on. I think you've changed your front stage out, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm getting ready to do. I haven't done it yet. It's just kind of one of those things where if everything's been working, so it's like, I don't feel like doing this. So I got to take it apart. Mm-hmm. But my old Sony projector has been acting up, so I got to take it down here soon so I can send it off for a warranty request. So a warranty works, so I'm gonna go down and get
Sony,
it.
Man.
Good luck. Good luck with that.
Is that Sony, man? That's Sony, man. Just let it go.
You know me. I'm not like a big video.
I might make a few enemies, but just let it go.
As long as like mine is the Sony 295.
Is the 295?
So,
yeah.
Yeah. So
that's what the 365 replaced. But what issue you having though?
I get this like blue flicker. Like I can be watching it and it just starts strobing, like blue light, and it stops, and it'd be good for 5 minutes, and then just start back and just keep going on and off. Sometimes you would turn it on and it won't do it at all. Other times it will. The first time they told me, hey, that it's the bulb. You need to get a new bulb. I got a new bulb. It worked fine for maybe 30 hours and started by doing the exact same thing. So.
And you've tried both HDMI ports, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I tried both of the ports. I even tried 2 different cords just to make sure that it wasn't a cord issue. I went through the edits and stuff to look at what I was passing through. Even though it's a 4K cable, I wanted to make sure there wasn't anything there. I mean, I went through just about everything that I could think of, and it just one of those deals with.
You're gonna have to make a video recording of it, and then take pictures. Because when you send it in, they're gonna ask you to upload a video of it happening, like a clip of it, and because what happens is when you send it, they're going to try to replicate it, and if in those few days that you have it, they just somehow can't replicate it, they're going to tell you nothing is wrong with it.
Yeah.
Which is what sucks the most, because they have to try to replicate it to figure it out before they even, else they're just going to tell you what they told me. Oh, it's just the limitation of the projector. It's an older one.
Yeah.
So,
I think that
I had a
they
starred question here that would like to get to real quick. I know it's taken us a while to get to this, so I apologize. It says, "Hey guys, I got a 19 by 14 room, brick and concrete. Um, how much space would I lose if I put in drywall? Oh, and 10-foot ceilings too." So, I live in Florida, and I probably have kind of the same setup you have. It's a brick and concrete type of space. So if you wanted to put in drywall, there's literally these things called furrings that they put on the wall, and they can be that you glue them to the wall, you concrete anchor them to the wall, and they're only like maybe a half inch or a quarter inch furring that goes on the wall, and
He's
then
talking about in-wall speakers as well, so it's
yeah,
just throwing basic. I kind of answered and chatted with him in the chat, so he's talking about doing like some in-wall type speakers. If the
yeah.
in-walls,
So the
most
minimum
in-walls
depth
are
that you would want to
standard.
do for an in-wall speaker is I think 4 inches off the
Yeah,
wall.
three and a half, three and a
Yeah.
half.
Yeah, 3.5. It's the standard baffle, the standard
All
stud.
all in-walls will be to that shape, but if they're like any kind of commercial, you'll want to double check. But it's if you're only losing the lumber width
yeah.
because the drywall is 5/8 as well, so it's not
It'll
that
be about 4 inches. Four,
Yeah,
I
I
would
would
say
say,
4 to 6 inches.
yeah.
You know,
I
if
say
it was
about 5 inches by the time you add a vapor barrier, depending on where you live.
hmm
It's not going to be any more than five, and if not, and if 5.5 if you're doing like double drywall for, but if you're doing a false wall, it's 2.5 to 3 feet if you're doing a false wall in the front. If you want to do that
right.
too, so
Yeah, it depends on what you want to do here. If you want to go on wall speakers, you can like the Ascendos or the RBHs. They make some pretty good on walls. If you wanted to do that, you can literally, you're talking a quarter inch and then put your 5/8 drywall up. So, you're maybe looking at losing 2 inches of space, which is
yeah.
absolutely nothing. You
Like
know,
master lessons saying it's like, yeah, he would just roughly say 6, which yeah, I
right?
mean if you're doing
yeah,
like
I mean,
sound, you're doing the
I would
sound
say
stuff and all that, it would be.
definitely do six. I would definitely do six if you can, because then you can do staggered studs if you wanted to add some type of sound isolation. And then there are some in walls that are 6 inches deep or 5 inches deep, depending on the brand you go to. And if you wanted to get
Yeah,
into wide, if you wanted to get into angled speakers that are in wall, like for wide or maybe some surrounds, depending on your placement, those are normally like 5 inches or so deep because of the angle. And so if you do 4 inches, you kind of, you can't do it. So if you can, I think 6 inches would be a really good sweet spot so that you can always be covered.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a good
Yeah.
good advice there. So,
It's not, but yeah, it's not that much you're losing. So, I mean, all in all,
and then also it depends on if you're trying to do any type of sound isolation. Because
yeah,
if you are trying to do that, you would want to go double drywall. Or OSB, and then 5/8. OSB is basically, if you're not sure what that is, it's like plywood, but a lot denser. So,
yeah.
but yeah, you would do OSB, and I kind of regret that I didn't do that, because when I'm hanging the drywall, you got to make sure that you hanging. You got to make sure that you line everything up perfectly, and you when joining the two pieces of drywall together, you got to cut like half right in the center of the stud. Compared to if I'd have
Yeah.
hung that OSB up first, I could just screw anywhere and the drywall would stay up. So I kind of regret not doing that OSB behind the one layer of
drywall.
drywall. Yeah, so it does make it a lot easier to screw to. It also makes it a little bit more sturdy if you're gonna do any type of in wall speakers too. So you're screwing in the wood versus drywall. So right, let's see if we got any more comments in here. So we got Master Lessons has been in the chat all night, and I appreciate you. Appreciate your commenting.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, I had I don't know if it's a question more so a comment. I watched a movie last night, Dunkirk, and I
Dunkirk.
feel like it was, and I feel like it was super loud. Like
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't even turn it up past like a -15 because it was like super loud. Like, uh, because normally I watch it about a -10 on most things. Some things around around -5. But when I tell you like a -15, -18, that thing, like those bullets were like hitting off those planes and everything. And it just had me wondering like whether or not is it just that Kodak, like if that Kodak was for DTS, like if it's just mixed louder or I don't know.
The
Yeah,
new
so
Dune
the
like that.
worst experience that I had in a theater was watching Dunkirk. And the reason is exactly what you said. I went to an IMAX theater and my ears were bleeding after I watched this. So I 100% completely understand. It's probably mixed very hot, right?
Yeah.
So, because when I went to IMAX, I mean, I'm telling you, my ears were ringing coming out of there. That's how loud it was. So,
He said Nolan can't hear.
and then my camera decides to cut off right in the middle of that.
Oh man.
No
Yeah, I
sense.
agree, man.
That's
Christopher
one way
Nolan.
to end the show today.
Christopher Nolan's ears don't work, man. Because that movie
He
was.
shut me off completely. My
Yeah.
camera just decided to
That's
take.
funny.
Had to turn it
Yeah,
off. And turn it back
some
on.
movies. There's been a couple movies. What was the one that I watched that? Because I listened to everything at -15. Oh, I remember what it was. It was the 4K of The Fifth Element. And oh my God, that is the loudest movie that I have listened to on my system. I'm like, this is like Jesus criminy. The bass was just, it had to have been bumped up like 20 dB. Like I was just, man, this is a little too much.
You know, the crazy thing was like I couldn't even turn it up loud enough to really hear the actual bass because everything else was so loud. So it was like whenever I tried to go up to like a -15 or -12 just so I could get the bass to come in, everything else was way too loud.
Yeah,
And so I had to back it down.
it's a good movie, but like I said, it's just it was in the theater itself. It was just extremely loud. I haven't watched it in a home theater environment yet. I own it, just I haven't watched it.
I guess it was their director's intent, right?
Yeah,
For it to be that hot.
Yeah, it was definitely hot. Well, everyone, I want to thank everyone for joining in the show today. Definitely had some active comments here. 230 comments. That's pretty. I think that's pretty much the highest we've had in comments. So appreciate everybody being active in the chat. If you haven't hit that subscribe or like button yet, please subscribe to both Ike's and my channel, Easy HT Tech and Horizon Home Theater. Todd, I'd like to thank you for being a guest on the show. Calvin, thanks for joining in. Appreciate the insight on the subwoofer build.
Will Todd be joining the Mwave this year?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Todd's going to be there on Tuesday, he said.
Or
I'm
Wednesday or
actually going to
Tuesday.
meet up with Sheldon before.
I remember the conversation, but I couldn't remember if that was this year or last year. I'm not even drinking today.
That's the problem.
That's the problem,
Yeah.
exactly.
I'm thinking too much other stuff.
Oh man.
But once again, if you'd like to be a guest on the show, please send us an email to hometheaterhublive@gmail.com. Appreciate everybody tuning in. And Mike and I will be live at Mwave. We're going to be doing a show live from Mwave. So make sure you tune into that show because we're going to run around trying to show all the setups and and all that stuff too. So that'll be fun, and I'll also be able to talk about some of the home theater experiences that I was able to partake in, the VIP home theaters, and then of course I'll talk about Paul's theater because I'm going to go crash his house on Wednesday. So
Yeah, and next week is what next show is June 6th. We have Nick from SVS joining us next week, so
very nice.
please come around. Let's show him some love, and I'm sure that's gonna be a good show too.
Yeah, Nick's a really good guy. So
Yeah.
Yeah. If anybody wants to get a hold of me directly, if you guys have any questions or want to come have for a listen, you could reach me at tb2034 xcess@gmail.com. So
We'll try to put it in the show
I'm gonna
notes
look
for
for
you.
that email
Yeah.
and put it in the show because
Yeah, we'll put it in the show notes for
was
you.
like, man,
let
yeah.
me
So
see if I
Todd,
can.
just hang
But
on.
yeah, or if they have questions about the build and stuff, because like I
Yeah.
said, I built all the stuff for the doors and everything else. So it's like
Yeah, we'll definitely put that in the show notes for you. That way they can reach out to you.
okay.
And just hang on because we're gonna be in the green room. So just hang on.
Okay.
Thank you everyone
All
for
right.
joining. Have a good day.
Thank you guys for the opportunity of letting me show my stuff off a little bit.
Oh,
Other
no,
than my kids
we
or my dog.
appreciate it, man, and
So-
we definitely love DIY. I love DIY.
I do
Because
too.
these are my little guys right there. There's my Mastiff and my. I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but
Oh,
it's
yeah.
just
Yeah.
they're
Oh.
it's normally just the three of us in here that enjoy. So.
Hey, the only person that's got to like your theater is you, right?
Yeah,
I
and
love that saying that Andrew Robinson says.
I'm struggling right now because, like I said, it was just like, it's been like 4 weeks since I added my last subwoofer, so it's like it's a struggle right now.
All right. Thank you,
All right,
everyone.
guys.
Have a great
Sure.
day.
All right, see you in the green room.